Of the country's economy, the agricultural sector contracted for the second consecutive year in 2022, bringing to full glare the soft underbelly of Kenya's high vulnerability to climate-related shocks. According to the just released economic survey output from the sector, which accounts for 22% of the economy, declined by 1.9% in 2022 compared to 2021 as drought ravaged productivity. Brian George now paints a picture of the dire situation the 2.8 trillion shilling sector faces and what this means for the country.
Kenya, like the rest of the Horn of Africa, was for the better part of 2022 grappling with the worst drought in decades, an occurrence whose scale of impact has been laid bare by both loss of lives through starvation and productivity. The 2023 economic survey released on Wednesday morning has added perspective to the loss incurred due to the adverse impact of the drought. Across the key engines of growth in the sector, productivity has declined significantly. In the period under review, maize production decreased from 36.7 million bags to 34.3 million bags. Tea production decreased from 537.8 thousand tons to 535,000 tons. The volume of marketed milk decreased from 801.9 million litres to 754.3 million litres, and the volume of horticultural exports decreased from 405.5 thousand tons in 2021 to 392,000 tons in 2022.
The beginning of our problem, because agriculture still remains, though its contribution to the GDP is going down over time, slowly, but what is happening here is that it is still commanding the bigger portion of our GDP, and it has gone down. Of course, we all understand that we had very severe droughts, and that is the act of God.
This decline in productivity explains why the country is currently under a 6-month import duty-free window for maize and rice, as the government looks to address the supply-side constraints created by the decline in local production. The country looks to import 900,000 metric tons of maize and 600,000 metric tons of rice by August 6th. The Treasury warns, however, that even these measures may not be sufficient to reverse the challenges being faced and the much-needed lowering of the cost of living.
It is actually very difficult even to lay out a foundation when the cost of living is being affected by shocks from the supply side. Most of the time, it is quite problematic because it just tells you that bring the supply back into the market and the problem will be solved. But it's not as easy as that. It means that we need to have a raft of measures and policy changes and policy reforms and even new policy designs to effect those changes.
In the just published draft budget estimates for the financial year 2023-2024, the National Treasury is proposing to allocate the State Department for Livestock Development 18.4 billion shillings, up from the current financial year's 8 billion shillings, whilst the State Department for Crop Development is earmarked to receive 46.3 billion shillings, a reduction from 55 billion in the current financial year. Despite the contraction in agriculture, which remains an anchor point in Kenya's economy, the economic survey report shows that Kenya's economic growth is in tandem with the IMF's projections of 5.3% in April, compared to a previous projection in October of 5.1%. Brian George, Otieno, NTV, Nairobi.